a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. For July 31st, 2024, for the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, no one is buying Xbox systems, but Microsoft is still making more money from video games. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Lucy James, everybody. Lucy, how are you doing?
Doing a little better, thank you. Otherwise, a little sick.
Glad to
from
hear
Comic-Con.
Yeah. Now, a little sick or did you catch something at Comic-Con, or is it just like, I was at Comic-Con and I need some time to relax and bounce back?
I mean, day 2, someone open mouth sneezed in my vicinity.
Hell yeah. That's a good look.
Yeah, so the last 3 days I've just been in bed or playing games, but today I feel just tired.
Sure.
But
yes.
That's kind of like a baseline for me anyway, so getting there.
Well, it'll be a chill episode, everybody. We'll take it easy. We'll kind of get through this news and all that stuff. More traveling coming up pretty soon. How are you feeling about like leaving home frequently? Because I know you got a lot going on like at home. There's stuff that happened in there. You're figuring that stuff out. But at the same time, you're constantly traveling. How are you feeling about it? Because I'm at a point where I'm I wouldn't mind not traveling for 3 or 4 months in a row. That would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, mostly for me, it's just figuring out that the cats are going to be okay.
Yes.
And so usually shout out to Michael Hyam and Joey Noel from Kind of Funny, because they always step in and come and stay. Because I have someone who comes around every day if I'm just doing a short hop. But if I'm going for, 5 days, then I have someone stay. And luckily, Jelly loves her Uncle Michael. And Peanut is indifferent to everyone. So everyone who's not me. So as long as they're okay, then I love travel. Yeah,
we did that Michigan trip, and that was about 7 days, and we had a family member come check for right in the middle, but then we just had the person come by once a day, and he was doing pretty good. I was happy to see that, but he's an old man. He was he mostly just wants to be left alone. So they worked out pretty well.
My cats both love their cat sitter. Sometimes more than me. I think because she gives them loads of treats.
Yes.
And I'm just Peanut's already. Sorry, my love, but you are a little overweight. So I kind of trying to hold up on the treat usage. But
Nico Jefferson Moo Grubb is quite overweight. He's a big breed anyhow. But we have cleaners here today, and they walked in that's a big cat. Yes, it is. Yep. Yes, it is.
Well, I think you were there on that call when I was lying on the couch and Peanut came up on my chest, and Jeff Bacala just went, "Jesus Christ, that's a giant cat."
Yep. Psychotran says their cats are about 15 pounds each. My boy's in the 20s. He is that big.
Oh, wow.
Yes, he is. Not a Maine Coon. He's a Norwegian forest cat, so they're bigger. They're bigger anyhow, and he's big and fluffy, so he looks big because the long hair he does. Yes, they also said that. What a beautiful cat. But yes, there's a lot of beef under that fur as well.
Yeah.
Let's explain what we do here other than talk about cats. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into. So let's start the morning mess with Xbox posts massive hardware sales decline, but it's not all bad news. This is from Haley Williams at GameSpot. The Xbox Series X and S will be 4 years old this year, and Microsoft's latest earnings call have revealed that its newest generation of consoles just aren't selling like they used to. While software and services sales have been strong, helped along by the massive Activision acquisition, hardware sales have seen a sharp decline. In its Q4 earnings presentation for the 2024 fiscal year, Microsoft noted that its gaming hardware sales have decreased significantly, with a 42% decline compared to the same period last year. Despite this, the company's overall gaming revenue was up 44%, with a 61% increase in content and services revenue that Microsoft says was slightly ahead of expectations. Both of these growth figures were positively impacted by the Activision purchase, Microsoft said. The call also suggests that third-party content may not have performed as well as expected for Xbox in Q4, with Microsoft noting stronger than expected performance in first-party content was partially offset by third-party content performance. Also worth throwing in here is when you remove the Activision Blizzard revenue, Microsoft gaming revenue would have been down 4%. So once again, showing how important that acquisition was to them. So that was down 4%. The hardware sales down 42% year over year, something they've had multiple quarters in a row. Like it's been multiple quarters in a row where it's been in the 40% range in terms of decline in hardware sales. New people just aren't buying Xboxes, Lucy. I think there's no other way to put it other than that. And it's not like it's all rainbows and sunshines over at PlayStation. We don't have to immediately go to the comparison. They've also seen year over year declines in hardware sales, but it's certainly better because they're ahead of the PS4 in terms of the rate of sales for Sony. So it's clearly like they're fine, like having a little bit of a slowdown because they had such a strong start. That is not necessarily the case for the Xbox Series X and S, which seems to be behind the Xbox One, at least in the United States, according to Matt Piscatella. So new people aren't buying Xboxes, and it feels like they're, if everything was normal, they would be. So what's going on?
Honestly, God, I don't know. I mean, I think every time we talk about this, I always kind of bring up the fact that it's like cost of living crisis. It is things like, a lot of layoffs, not just in the gaming space or anything, but everything over the last year or so. People are not going to be spending money on a big purchase like a game console at this point because they are better served spending their money elsewhere. However, I think it's fair to say that it has been a rough ride for Xbox this generation. A lot of people have been just playing the third-party stuff on PlayStation, on PC. However, yeah, it is kind of not a lifeline, but I guess a very calculated move and one that seems to be paying off in that the money from the Xbox acquisition of Activision Blizzard is coming in strong and helping them out a lot. Not obviously, it's kind of weird because I think when you see those figures, immediately you go, wow, okay, so why did they let go of this part of the business? Why did they shut down this part of the business? And clearly I think it's just not that simple. That is not an excuse by any means, but it's just like, I wish I understood how a giant conglomerate like Xbox works when it came to that kind of thing, because, with all this money, it just does seem unfair that all those people lost their jobs and that talented studios had to close.
Yeah, they're looking for growth still, and I think that really what happened there was, or what seems to have happened there is, they got their growth by making a big acquisition. So the numbers do look pretty good on their face when they present them to investors. The overall gaming revenue up 44%. There's your growth, and they got it without having to have human beings make new video games. They just, had a whole cavalcade of people come in that were already making stuff and already generated revenue, and that makes the difference. And that's really one of the bigger negative sides of the way of industry consolidation is that it's this artificial growth that these companies can pass off as real growth. And then all of those investments that they previously made sort of look less shiny, less new, and less important to the people in charge. And then makes it a little bit easier to cut jobs. It seems to me that that's the case. I don't know if this is like the official, start of Xbox really moving past the Xbox hardware. But with numbers like these, it's like, okay, well, they are growing still. When you factor in Activision Blizzard, and Activision Blizzard has a lot of ways to make money without having to sell Xboxes. And this is clearly the strategy, though, that they're eyeballing for the future. It's not necessarily about resuscitating the Xbox Series X and S to the sales heights of Xbox One or Xbox 360. I do think maybe it is a little bit ahead of the Xbox 360 when you line them up from the launch date. But they're not trying to recapture those glory days. They are looking ahead. But I don't know, does this feel like that is what's happening here, or does this feel like a momentary, bump because we are in the early days of them owning Activision Blizzard?
What do you mean, like
Like,
leaving the Xbox hardware behind?
Yeah, like, yeah. Do you think like things will normalize and they'll be like, well, God, now where is the growth going to come from?
I think it's more that at this point they're just putting their eggs in many, many baskets, and I think that's probably the smart move going forward because, yeah, consoles are expensive, and if you already have another device like a TV or a phone where you can be streaming your games to, then I think it's kind of a smarter play, and also if you're looking at an actual, sorry, someone just put kittens in the kittens.
Yeah, I'm gonna click on this too.
I'm completely distracted.
Yeah. Look at those.
No, so if you're putting all of your eggs in a hardware basket and you're not necessarily giving people a bunch, I mean, they haven't given people a bunch of options with the Series X, Series S, even the ongoing support for Xbox One, like that's incredible. But more people these days, and them Gen Zs and Gen Alphas are more going to be likely to have iPads and phones, and so you obviously want to be making sure that you are catering to that market too. It's a smarter play.
Yeah, and it's like, in a lot of cases, what choice do they have? Like they've tried to get people excited about the Xbox. It's not like they haven't tried, right? I think that their efforts were, let's make some big games. And those came out, and they were Halo Infinite and Starfield and a handful of others, and those things just have not done what they needed to do to get people to be like, well, and I need an Xbox. Certainly people aren't going to be like, well, I need an Xbox over a PlayStation or instead of a PlayStation. That doesn't really seem viable, at least for the wide market, especially globally. But I think there's a chance to be, well, listen, I can't be a gamer and not have an Xbox. I have to have Starfield, and that's not how it clicked together. So I think them having that, having gone through that, they're looking around being like, nothing else was going to be as big as Starfield. So we do have to start looking forward, and we should start that process now. And we're less concerned with selling Xbox, and it shows up in the numbers. And I think that's going to continue to be the case. In fact, they say that's going to continue to be the case. They expect hardware revenue will again decline year over year in the future. They said that explicitly in their earnings report. And so Microsoft is looking to its Activision purchase to continue to drive sales on the content side. There was a little bit more from this. Microsoft Gaming marks 500 million monthly players, notes Fallout TV show's impact on Game Pass. This is from Haley Williams at GameSpot as well. In its latest financial earnings call, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella celebrated a major milestone for the company's gaming division, reporting 500 million monthly active users across all platforms and devices. While the success has clearly been influenced by Microsoft's acquisition of Activision, the Fallout TV show also got a shout out from Nadella for its influence. The CEO talked up the success of Prime Video's live-action Fallout adaptation in his part of the presentation, saying the TV show was bringing the Microsoft's IP to new audiences. Nadella revealed that player numbers for Fallout games on Game Pass had increased by 5 times compared to the previous quarter, with that increase attributable to the popular TV show. We've already seen plenty of statistics on how the TV show, which has become Prime Video's second most watched title, has led to a renewed wave of interest in Fallout games. Yeah, clearly that had a positive impact. And then also having 500 million players across all things is like, that's massive. It's also, puts in perspective when they talk about, hey, we're trying to get to those 2 billion players, and then they started saying 3 billion players. That is more realistic than I originally first thought, but that's because, they're counting Minecraft players on mobile and across the world, and the King players on Candy Crush Saga and stuff like that. They're probably able to get to that, but it also reemphasizes that Microsoft's strategy is broader than let's make sure the Xbox console is going to be the thing. That's just not the case anymore, right?
Oh shit! Sorry. Bungie just cut 220 roles. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. In fact, I had a story here. Game layoff forecast is getting better, and I put that in here specifically because I thought news like this could happen. Yeah. So Bungie's laying off a bunch of people, everybody, and what's happening is this is it. PlayStation Studios is taking over Bungie. Yeah. There will be Herman Holst will be in charge. A lot of those roles it seems like it might go beyond 200, but some of those roles are going to be reassigned to other places inside of PlayStation Studios. They're going to try to give a lot of those people homes. it's rough because, as far as my understanding is, that a lot of people at Bungie were not recognizing that this was going to happen. Because they thought, hey, we got past it. We had a really good DLC. We had a really good expansion. We should be good. And it seemed like no matter what, with the final shape, is that what that was called? Never could have done what it needed to do to avoid this. And so, yeah, it is looking very rough over there. I don't know. What do you think the future of Bungie is?
Let's find out from this new statement from Pete Parsons. Rising cost development, industry shifts beginning today. A further 17% of our workforce is gone. Every level of the company. We've navigated. Blah, 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 blah. We're committing to 2 other major changes today. Leverage Sony's strength and create new opportunities for Bungie talent. We are deepening our integration with Sony, working to integrate 155 of our roles into SIE.
Yep.
Second, we're working with PlayStation Studios leadership to spin out one of our incubation projects, an action game set in a brand new science fantasy universe, to form a new studio within PlayStation Studios to continue its promising development. Yep. And then let's unpack how we ended up in this position.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of not too shocking, but also no. It felt like I did get the sense that a lot of people were starting to feel we were getting past the layoffs, but I think what happened, Lucy, is summer came and executives took vacations, and they're like, well, I'm not going to lay anyone off until we get back. And here we are. They got back from vacation and they have started the process up again. This one's particularly frustrating, I think, for a lot of Bungie fans. I expect the Destiny fans to not take this very well, because there was the promises of during the acquisition of Bungie is going to be independent. Bungie is a Sony company, not a PlayStation Studios company, not Sony Interactive Entertainment company. They are under Sony, and they're independent, and they're going to keep putting stuff out. And it just felt like Sony was biding their time to sort of come in and be like, hey, you didn't meet these certain numbers, and the hammer's coming down, and not only are we taking over, but you got to lay off a bunch of people. I don't know. Do you think that Marathon still happens? Do you think, like, what's the next for Destiny? Like, do they go to Destiny 3 and just, I mean, that it just seems like it'll be the most cynical form going forward, but what do you think?
I mean, Destiny right now, the way it's living, talking to Ralph, who has to explain the ins and outs of Destiny to me and Jake, is that, like, Destiny 2 is, like, they have episodes coming, which is basically, like, kind of like the arc structures. So it's basically still, like, it's still getting that content, but it's, like, a little bit better than Ralph. The way Ralph was explaining it, it was like he actually prefers the way that they are doling out this story content in the episodes. Oh God, Dr. Disrespect just tweeted. Wow, it's all popping off on a Wednesday morning.
All right, here we go.
I will, here you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
There you go. So I don't know. I mean, Marathon, like, have we heard anything about how Marathon's ticking along? Like, I don't imagine they would cancel it at this point, but... I
mean, I think the last thing we heard is it's way further off than we're expecting. There's a lot more work involved than we're expecting. I don't know. I thought the early impressions of whatever were, a little bit, like, underwhelming. I don't know. Marathon seems like a dream at this point. It probably will come out. I think Destiny 3 is more certain at some point, because that's the kind of thing that can make a big team make sense at a certain point, is that, hey, we have a big budget release that can have a big budget launch and make big budget numbers on day one, and Destiny 3 could certainly do that. But that also feels like a long way off as well, and a lot can go wrong between now and then. I feel bad for everyone who was at Bungie who worked really hard on the final shape and got that game out in a really good position in the market, where everyone, like Destiny fans have rarely been happier than when that was out, and they could be very upset at times. They could be very disappointed in that game, and they just weren't. They said it was the best it's ever been, and what else can you do if you're making a game other than make the best game possible? And then this still happens. At a certain point, it begins to feel like, what are we even doing here? So I just feel really bad for everyone involved.
Yeah. God.
And then Dr. Disrespect just tweeted a picture of him playing chess.
No, well, you see, he's playing chess, but the other person is playing checkers.
Right. Well, yes. Jesus Christ. What a dumb fucking thing.
I think this must be on the back of the fact that the 12 a.m. team spoke to, was it IGN?
Oh my God.
Yesterday?
Yeah. Did you see the first responses? Is this you playing with a minor? And then he responded to that, good one, she/her. The internet will never fix your real threat, depression. So he's going scorched earth.
Wow.
Good luck.
I mean,
with
to
that,
be fair, I'm very depressed, and the internet does not do anything for me. So,
sure,
I hate to say that he's got a little bit of a point.
The doctor's correct about something, I suppose. He is. I don't know. Where does he go? Like, where's he going to play Chess X? He's not welcome to make money on YouTube anymore, right? So, yeah, Kick. Yeah, Kick. He goes to Kick. That's right. Well, good luck with that, bud. I had not thought about Dr. Disrespect until the last kerfuffle happened, and then I hope to not think about him again for a very long time, if ever again. All right, let's keep going here. Star Wars Outlaws has a great option every game should offer. This is from John Walker at Kotaku. Thanks to Star Wars Outlaws, it's time for the Great Yellow Paint Debate. Part 471.
For God's sake.
For a long while now, third-person games have been decorating their worlds in yellow or white paint to indicate to players a doorway they can pass through, a rocky outcrop that can be climbed, or an area worth exploring. While some are grateful for the support, others describe this as unnecessary hand-holding or decry it as poor level design. Ubisoft, meanwhile, is taking the position of Switzerland in the matter and offering an option to keep it in or switch it off entirely. It was the fine folk at PC Gamer who spotted this detail during the recent flurry of hands-on previews with the promising game. Called Explorer Mode, Ubisoft says it switches off the guiding color on core navigational elements, meaning via toggle you can flood the galaxy in white spirit and wash away all that pesky paint. Sure, this is probably a good way of doing things. Sure. I'm with you, Lucy. I don't care. If a game has yellow paint in it to help me find stuff, cool. If it doesn't, I'm gonna miss stuff and whatever. Like, who cares? But having the option, it's just like it's the right way to get people to shut up about this and just say, hey, okay, if you don't like it, turn it off. Now you're in control, and the argument should be over. I'm sure they'll still find ways to argue, though. Do you expect other developers to adopt this option going forward?
Probably, yeah, just to avoid having the capital D discourse. I think Ubisoft in general doesn't get enough flowers for its accessibility options. Like, I think I've definitely noticed in the last few years from Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, they've really kind of stepped up. It's not the same suite as what PlayStation first party has, with Last of Us and everything, but the accessibility options in Assassin's Creed is really good. And so, yeah, I'm all for giving players way more choices. Like, I've been playing a bunch of games recently. I'm not going to name them or shame them, but it's like, I've been playing a first-person game recently with no FOV slider.
Yeah.
And I'm just
that's rough.
Come on, please. Like a modern FPS, first person. It's not a shooter, but like a modern first person game that didn't have an FOV slider. And so I'm like, anytime now we're at the stage where if stuff doesn't have an accessibility option, I'm just like,
yep,
that blows.
Yeah, if it feels like we've established a baseline of expectations for those sorts of things, and I don't know. We should always just be adding to it and having a big list of accessibility options and other options to just kind of adjust the games accordingly to our needs. And this one feels like that can go right in there with everything else. You know what? Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we have plenty more to get into, including college football's big sales numbers right after this. All right, let's hit this. College Football 25 hit 5 million players in its first week. This is from Haley Williams at GameSpot. As the first entry in the franchise in over a decade, it's no surprise that EA Sports College Football 25 has been popular at launch. But new figures released by EA have revealed just how popular it's been. According to EA's quarterly financial results, College Football 25 saw over 5 million unique players in its first week. EA's quarterly report for Q1 2025, which ended on June 30th, encompasses what EA calls the record-breaking launch of EA Sports College Football 25. CFB 25 was drawing huge player numbers even before the game officially launched, with 2.2 million unique players logged during the game's 4-day early access period. That figure more than doubled in the first week after its full release on July 19th, with more than 5 million unique players trying out the game. And that figure did not include an additional 500,000 players who checked it out via the EA Play trial. College Football 25's launch comes at the tail end of what EA reports is a strong financial quarter. This game, just no caveats, huge success. It is exactly what they were hoping for when they said they were going to bring this thing back. It also has mostly hit with its audience quality-wise. People are also enjoying watching it. Some of the biggest video game streams on YouTube right now are like Big Cat playing College Football 25 role playing as his coach player that's like getting new jobs and stuff like that. Regularly has like 20,000 live viewers at any one time and stuff like that. So it is just hitting all quadrants and fully coming across the finish line. EA's got to feel good about this, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I am someone who is incredibly disconnected from sports games in general. I didn't even know that college football was a game series. I think the last time I was fully engaged in a sports game was FIFA Street, from back in like 2012 or 14 or whenever. So this is really good. I really hope that this kind of does some good stuff for EA. I think, a lot of people who I know who have been playing it and all the chat around it has been really popular. If you enjoy sports games, I'm happy for you. I do not like cricket, Winship. I don't like baseball either, but you know what I do like about both of them? You can just sit and drink.
Yes, that's definitely the best part about baseball, for sure.
I'm actually a tennis person, so...
Oh, tennis is great, too.
Top spin. Well, no, as in, like, IRL tennis. No, I don't think I've ever played top spin.
Oh, really? Yeah, there's some really good tennis video games, but tennis is a really fun sport to watch. I wonder how you would react to going to, like, a really crazy college football game. Did anyone ever drag you to, like, a football game where like everyone was going crazy and singing when you were back in the UK?
I mean, that's just a football game.
Yeah, so, right. Everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, no. So in the UK, I have been a mascot for Sunderland AFC back when I was a kid. So I got to like hold the hands of, and I got to take shots at goal and stuff. Wow. I think I was about 9 or something when I was a kid when I was doing it. But so when you go to a football game in the UK, it is such just everyone sings, everyone knows all the songs.
Yes.
Everyone, one of my favorite kind of stories is like I had an ex who, we don't love the ex, but he was from London and he thought Geordies were like, not dangerous, but he thought we were all really rough and like kind of horrible. So we were walking along the street and it was the derby, and it was happening at the same time, and it was Newcastle playing Sunderland, and this other guy wearing a Newcastle shirt just started yelling at him, and my partner at the time was like, "Oh my god, are we getting like attacked? Is he going to come after us?" And obviously Geordies have really strong accents from the northeast of England, for those who are confused. And I said, no, he's just telling you what the score is because he thinks that I've taken you out so you can't watch the football. Like this is like this camaraderie in football, this love language. And yeah, I mean, like my brother-in-law loves football, my dad loves football. I that's the thing, I don't follow it, but I love going to games just because. Right.
So college football is probably the closest thing we have to what the energy you would get from one of those matches. But then you have to add on a little bit of extra nationalism because the military will like fly jets over the top and stuff like that, and there's a lot of expensive pageantry on top of all of it as well. So yeah, it's a good time, and I'm sure deeply problematic as well. I've been playing this game. I want to be playing more of it because I really enjoy it. I think they did a very good job. This is a game that I think benefited from them giving its own dose of love where they could have just taken Madden and reskinned it. They didn't. They did not do that, and it feels different in some key ways. But mostly it just feels like they made the parts that needed to be good first, and then kind of like they'll add other things later, like a lot of other modes that are missing, and they just don't have those yet. Okay, let's keep going here. Sticking with EA College Football in some ways. EA College Football 25 used AI to make all 11,000 players' faces. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. Last year, Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson said AI would help the publisher and unlock the holy grail of game development. Now he's confirmed that the company has already used it to make its latest sports blockbuster, EA College Football 25. Creating 150 unique stadiums and over 11,000 player likenesses couldn't be done without EA's deep history of being a technology leader and by our incredibly passionate and talented teams harnessing the power of AI and machine learning to deliver truly amazing entertainment. I will say, Lucy, I could tell by looking at the players' faces. You can tell that they're made with AI because it's just slop. It's just because they're wearing helmets.
Wait. What am I looking for? The
just like EA College Football player or EA College Football 25 player faces. I bet you Google that.
Okay. Let me look.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where I think that there's so many players that I never expected it to look great, and in the back of the day, it would look very generic, and it still does. I don't think that it somehow like none of the players really look like the players, even though they got the name, image, and likeness rights. They're allowed to do that now. They definitely didn't look like it back in the day because that would have been there would have been some serious legal issues. In fact, they got sued for even suggesting that those players were those human players. But now they have the rights to do that, and they could model those faces, and for the most part, they don't. I think they, what they do is they feed some images in there and say, hey AI, use our tools to make this stuff. It's algorithm. They've had these kinds of things for a very long time. I guess they're saying now we have deep machine learning, and that's going to help with this stuff. And if these are the results, not that impressed. And I bet when they talk about 150 stadiums, yeah, you could probably get the basics of a stadium, like, place the seats in the place where they should go using AI. Sure, but getting like the spirit of a stadium, again, a college stadium, the atmosphere is very important. And they did a pretty good job of capturing that. I guarantee a human being worked on that and actually got that across the finish line and made that make sense. But, you know,
I would assume someone, or at least a team of people, checked to make sure that we weren't accidentally having, 11,000 monster factories.
Yeah, God, but wouldn't that be nice? 11,000 monster factories. Yeah.
I've been like that is Monster Factory is a really good sick show to watch while you're sick, and I've been watching a lot of old episodes.
Steph, my wife, loves Monster Factory, and she put on Just Like Bort the other day, and we were rewatching that. Just a classic.
Jim Jelly is doing gymnastics his way.
Eat pants. Yeah. That's good internet series, everybody. Maybe the best. I think that it is always curious when the CEO is the one we hear this from, and we don't ever hear it from the people working on it. Here, God, AI is just making my job so much easier. I was able to make 150 stadiums in no time. I've never heard any developers say any of this. In fact, when we have heard from developers about AI in recent weeks, it has been, this is causing us more problems, or yeah, sure, it's a tool that's useful in some ways, but it is not improving my productivity. Now, this is especially true outside of game development. In a lot of office jobs, people are very annoyed with the AI tools that their bosses are forcing them to use and expecting great productivity improvements. I'm sure it could fit a little bit more into games, but also the productivity improvements that someone like Andrew Wilson is claiming here, I bet there is far more to the story on the ground with the people actually making that a reality, if it is a reality at all. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I would actually love to hear from someone who has to use that tech day to day. A lot of interesting stuff happening in the AI space. Don't take me out of context. A lot of interesting stuff happening in the AI space right now, especially with all the news that OpenAI is burning through not millions of dollars, billions of dollars.
Yep. And then when investors are like, hey, when are we going to start seeing some return on that? They're like, well, what if you gave us several billion more dollars? Because that's where the real money's at.
Yeah.
Yep. Good luck with all that.
Luck with that.
Another buzzword that you all fell for again. Maybe investors are the dumbest people alive. I don't know.
Oh, did you see The Friend? Did you see Friend?
I don't know if I saw Friend.
Oh my God.
It's, friend.com or whatever?
Yeah.
Yes, I did see Friend.
Was it 1.5 mil just on the domain?
Oh boy. Yeah.
Did you see that?
I didn't.
Oh,
so they
God.
spent. Okay, I didn't know they spent $1.5 million on friend.com.
Yeah.
Friend is a necklace you wear that has a little friend on it, a little circle that is always listening and talking to you, and then will text you on your phone and say that you're playing games bad. That's what the video was. The guy's getting his butt kicked in a video game, and he's sitting there whining about it. And then suddenly gets a message on his phone being like, "Oh, you're getting embarrassed. You should play games better," or something like that. And then he like looks down like lovingly at his necklace friend. And it's not like you're getting a text message from an app. So it's called, "Hey, your friend is texting." It's like a named person in your contact list texting you. It's weird. I mean, I don't get the appeal at all. To have like an AI listening all the time to comment on your life like a fucking Mystery Science Theater, that sounds miserable. Why are they doing this? It's so dumb.
No. Do you know the In-Betweeners?
I'm not sure.
It's like a show from the UK, but there was a whole bit where they go, "Oh, friend, oh, football friend, oh, friend." And every time I hear friend.com, I'm just like, "Oh, friend." Anyway.
Yep, good luck. Yeah, as Sean says, it's just a microphone because like you can do all that stuff on your phone right now or in the cloud or whatever. So it's just a microphone that hangs around your neck to listen all the time. People are going to love that.
I will say, if there is a use case for people like loneliness, the thing is that I think if they had positioned it different, like they positioned it like a shitty Silicon Valley thing,
right?
Loneliness is absolutely like a huge issue. Yep. And I think if this had been positioned to be a tool to combat loneliness, I think that would be incredibly valuable. That's not what they're doing here. They're doing some shitty AI Silicon Valley jumping on the bandwagon stuff.
I think the way that this makes sense is as like a Discord bot. And this bot is, instead of call it friend, call it captain. And it's like, actually, if you want to be like in a friend group of real people and you want to like keep up with one another, like this, you could be like, "Hey, can I find out like where my friend is at right now?" And this guy, this little app could just be like, "Yeah, here's what's going on. Here's what they're willing to share right now. They have plans this weekend. They were kind of hoping someone would come hang out with them. They just been too busy to ask you. Do you want to go see a movie with them? They said they wanted to see Twisters." Like that sort of thing of like facilitating real world relationships. That's what you do with this, maybe. And again, that would have to be a very soft touch, very delicate, and handled in a way that is very responsible. And these companies just don't have that in them. And instead it is, here's what cool people are going to be doing in the future, wearing a microphone on their neck, like dweebs. Okay. Let's keep going here. EA's CEO isn't worried about immediate impact from video game actors strike. This is from Haley Williams at GameSpot. Last week, video game voice actors voted to go on strike after a year and a half of back and forth negotiations with major gaming entities. The CEO of one of the companies at the bargaining table, EA, has said he's not concerned about the strike having a short-term impact on business. As part of EA's most recent earnings call, EA CEO Andrew Wilson was asked about any potential impact from the strike. IGN reports, due to the specifics of how the strike will operate and how EA's business runs, he's not concerned that the strike will cause any disruption in the near future. We're working very closely. This is not an EA-specific situation. This is an industry-specific situation, and we're working diligently to negotiate at the table, Wilson said, noting that voice actors are an important and valued part of EA's business. Sure, he feels that way. The way it works now in terms of our product specifically is that the strike is limited to games commencing production after September 2023, including live service games, Wilson explained. So we don't expect any near-term disruption to any of the games we have in development or any of the live services we're currently running. And it's like, why? If I'm him, I would not be saying this, because it's a reminder that like, oh, you have not caused enough disruption to the industry to really cause these executives any pain, and they're believing right now that it will get solved before they begin to feel that pain. And in the meantime, the voice actors are feeling pain because they can't take new jobs. They can't get new things going into the future with these major corporations. So more pain is being felt on one side than the other. Now, of course, that will catch up at some point, but it could be far down the line. I don't know. If I'm in the room with the organizers of this strike, I am looking for more ways to cause some distress on someone like Andrew Wilson, right?
I mean, yeah, I was. The reason I was at Comic-Con was I was hosting the Dragon Age panel with the voice actors, and it was the day after the strike was called, and they said that everything in Comic-Con was not struck because of how late they'd left it. And I spoke to a bunch of other voice actors too, who I just saw while I was there, and they were just devastated. Like, some of them were just saying that, you know, like, they've waited months, years, not the Dragon Age folks. I was talking to other actors while I was there, and they were like, they've waited years to talk about some of these projects, and then they just can't. And for some of them, it's like a dream come true. They love the franchise or whatever, and they want to be part of it, and they want to talk about their involvement. And we've seen how well, like, it could be make or break, because we've seen how well people like Ben Starr have really just, you know, managed to be a relative unknown in the video game space to becoming this like video game household name. Jelly, stop attacking my headphones.
Damn it,
I
Jelly.
love you. And so, you know, and it's so important for people's careers, and it sucks. And then, yeah, it's Andrew Wilson's not going to feel it, but the actors are. Yep,
and it's you know, and the strike has to start in a way that is pretty responsible. I get that, where they are looking for ways to cause some strife on these companies without being too disruptive to people who do have current jobs, and making sure that they get paid still, because these strikes can go on for a very long time, we've seen, and that can be very painful for people who are now relying on savings and maybe a small stipend from their union, maybe.
And I was going to say, it's not as if the acting space in particular is reliable and oversaturated. You know, it's I really hope they resolve this quickly. But I also absolutely power to them for fighting against AI protection. We've seen a bunch of like shitty things come out of contracts where they've said, oh yeah, we can use your voice to make it AI. And Lex, the person you're talking about, is Alex Jordan.
Yes, Alex Jordan, who I was going to bring. Yes, he's also like he's the one I think of because he just made it so clear. He's like, I looked around one day and it's like I've got to like be Alex Jordan and show people that I'm passionate and care about this stuff, because what else do I have? It like, I have my voice, but it seems like they're gonna try to steal that and take it for themselves and use it on their own with AI. So what can I do? I can be like Ben Starr. I could be out there, be kind of an advocate for the projects I'm working on, and get people saying, oh, Alex Jordan, I know him, I watch him on Twitch, I care about him, and I want to support whatever project he's on. And really, that was a strategy that was beginning to happen even before AI, because there was so much competition in the voice acting space that people were looking for ways to stand out. And now the competition might wipe out all of the human participants is the greatest concern here. The voice actors for the most vulnerable. Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, not everyone is a member of SAG.
No.
We just put up an episode of Star Players with Abu Bakr Salim, and I messaged him to be like, hey, is it okay? And he was like, I'm not a member of SAG, so we're good. But it's like, it's tricksy.
Exactly. It's complicated, and I hope that the voice actors are able to really figure this out, because this will be one of the first sort of forays into determining what contracts look like and what companies are able to get away with AI, because voices can so easily be replaced by AI. Now, not always with the same level of performance, but these companies do not really care about that. They think you don't care about that. So they think they're going to be able to get away with a lot, and they're going to try to get away with everything. And in the meantime, voice actors, I think, should be able to stem that tide a little bit, and we'll see what that ends up looking like. I know there was definitely like some AI stuff in the writer's strike, and they were like, hey, yeah, the writers can like use AI as a tool, but the producers can't come in and be like, hey, I wrote something, wink, wink, and actually what they just did is they had an AI come up with an idea, and now they're asking a writer, well, we just need you to touch this up, and then you're just going to get touch-up money. You're not going to get real writer money. And it's like they were able to stop that from happening. But that's like so much more complicated than voice acting, and that's not to say it's not as important. Voice acting clearly is important, but I think that's just so vulnerable, and everyone knows it. So hopefully they are able to get some concessions here and some protections going forward.
And it's also to the point of like other actors don't want to be seen as scabs. It's like based on what they can and can't talk about. They can't promote projects that they are in, but they can talk about other games. They can talk about the strike. I don't want to absolutely don't want to misspeak or anything, but it's like it's messy for everyone, and I think everyone is just working towards a very, very good and noble goal, and I really hope it gets sorted for their sakes.
Yep, agreed.
Quickly.
Okay, let's see here. Last couple of stories. Suda51 teases he may eventually make Killer 7 sequel called Killer 7 Beyond. This is from My Nintendo News. Shinji Mikami, the acclaimed ex-developer for Capcom and Tango, has appeared in a Grasshopper Direct, and he told Suda51 that he would absolutely love to see him create a sequel to the cult classic Killer 7. Suda51 said that it is something he would like to do and has nicknamed it Killer 7 Beyond, or something similar. However, he told Mikami that he thinks he would prefer to make a complete edition of the original Killer 7 first, as the game originally launched back in 2005, so many haven't played it. Mikami said that that's lame, as he really wants a sequel, but he said that the fans would love it. I actually never played Killer 7. Do you even know what Killer 7 was? It's like one of those weird Capcom 5 games that I feel like was a big deal for a year, and most people actually never ended up playing it. Did you ever get around to this?
I didn't, but what was the one that I interviewed Suda for? Killer is Dead is what I interviewed him for. Yeah, that was the other one. No, but I never played Killer 7, but I know of it because a few years ago we did film like a This Is My Life with Suda.
Oh, really? Okay,
and he went through all of his productions. Because which one was? Oh, Shadows of the Damned. He was like, I'll never work with EA again. Which one was very fun. Killer 7 has a 10 out of 10 on Steam. Damn, maybe I should play this one.
People really like Killer 7. At the time, though, I think it was a little bit more, not controversial, but like it was a little bit more mixed, because I think people didn't know what to expect from it. And the Capcom 5 was Resident Evil 4, so that was the bar. And people were like, well, the Killer 7, oh God, what is this? This is going to be something like that? And I think it was there was a little bit more to it than that people weren't quite grokking. I should play Killer 7. That's what I should do. Do you think that that this is something that he's just saying, or do you think this is something that could really happen? Because I feel like we get some follow-ups, or like even like people bring back games that were popular. Like I didn't include the story, but Jonathan Blow was whining that Braid Complete Edition or whatever it's called didn't sell very well. He said it sold terribly. And like people like Braid, maybe they don't like him, and maybe that affected the sales. But people like Braid, and even that game kind of came and went. So do you think that there's a world or space in the world for a Killer 7 remaster and then maybe a sequel?
I think so. I mean, I would hope so. Like they did the didn't they put Killer 7 on PC and they kind of like up-resed it and stuff. That's just what I was looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like a full like he just said he wanted to do a complete edition or something like that. Yeah.
Oh. No, I hope so. I think, kind of the different like are people
Killer 7.
Are people as passionate about Braid and Jonathan Blow as they are about Suda51 in his games? Like, because I think that's part of it, where it's like people latch on to the person, into the vibe, and they are gonna, invest with their money. And so I don't know, like Braid. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and I think like Suda51 didn't they do that? I mean, I don't know. Suda51 just seems like a good person, like a good dude. And John not so much. John seems like kind of a dick. And I think he knows it. And again, I always say, like, if you want to tell him I said that, you can tell him I'll tell him to his face. I think he's kind of a dick sometimes, and says some stuff that I completely disagree with. And Suda 51's out there just making his cool games, liking wrestling. And isn't he the one that made the game with the trans lady? He's done some real cool stuff. And so I think
Shadows of the Damned's getting remastered too.
Yeah, I think that he's just out there like doing stuff that people are like, I want to be in his vibe, and he's earned that. And so I think Killer 7 coming back would probably have a pretty big upswell of interest from people that have never played it. That was Swery. Thank you. I always confuse Suda and Swery. Thank you, everyone. Okay, let's see here. Last one. Game job layoffs forecast is getting better with job cuts slowing dramatically in July. Nevermind. Never mind. That was I literally included that just to say don't count on it, and here we are. I hopefully Bungie. We say this every time. Hopefully Bungie is the last big one, and we'll get on the other side of this, and the rest of the year will be like, all right, now let's actually do the survive to 25 and get back to next year, and things could bounce back, and interest rates will go down, and there will be more money in the system, and people will be able to afford to invest in games again, and investors will believe in that again. In the meantime, though, it is still rough out there. People are still losing their jobs, obviously. I don't know. Any final thoughts on Bungie?
Today's GI.biz newsletter is about the how to survive till 25. Oh my God, Pete Parsons locked his Twitter account.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Again, I mean, I think Destiny fans are going to kind of go ham on this. They're going to be pretty upset. In terms, and if we're talking about the layoff stuff, I think all eyes are kind of on Twitch after the report from the Wall Street Journal. Is the CEO of Bungie. He's the head person at Bungie, Dr. Ryan. I'm sorry, Lucy. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying, like, in terms of layoffs calming down, I think all eyes are kind of on Twitch at the moment.
Yes, that's right.
After the report from Wall Street Journal earlier this week.
Yep. I mean, Twitch is one where it's like, man, has that ever made money? I don't know. It seems like a very expensive venture. All right, let's wrap things up. I'm going to get to the poll question while I get that set up. Lucy, why don't you tell people where they could find you on the internet, what you have going on, and all that good stuff.
What am I doing? I'm back from Comic-Con, so this week I'm very much catching up. We're recording Jeff's Star Adventure next week. Star Players is back, so we had a boo on this week. Next week, I believe, is Johnny from Health.
Fantastic.
Johnny Familetti. And so please be excited and tune in to those. We had a lot of fun making them, and I'm shooting another one.
Abu Bakar
next
seems like a
week.
very nice person. Was he?
He's so lovely. Like, I've actually known him.
Really lovely. He wanted to come to Giant Bomb at night, and he had a thing. And then I'm like, oh, of course, no problem. And then like a week later, he's like, I'm so sorry. I wish I really wanted to do this. I'm just feel bad. I'm like, don't feel bad. I get it. It just seems like the sweetest guy.
Yeah. And it's actually funny because Johnny did actually come to Giant Bomb at night to hang out.
Yeah.
And so I'm also going to shoot in LA another episode next week. And then, we're getting ready for Gamescom.
Yep, it's happening, everybody. Gamescom is happening. I won't be there, but a lot of the rest of the team will be. So looking forward to it, everybody. Okay, let's see here. Poll question: are you going to see the Borderlands movie? 85% says no. 15% says yes. And I'm in that 15%. Now, will I see it in the movie theater? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, will I have time to see it? Because it just feels like this is going to evaporate the moment it hits a movie theater, and will be on home video in like probably a month, if even that. Hey, I don't know. We'll see. This is all based on the commercials and reactions to that. People just do not seem interested in what they're doing here. I don't know. In
Borderlands?
In the Borderlands movie. Yeah.
They keep messaging me to ask if I want to go. Like someone from the UK, bless them, is like, hey, did you want to go see all the Borderlands stuff at Comic-Con? And I was like, I'm sorry.
I'm busy that day.
I don't. I'm busy. To be fair, I was busy those days. But,
that's true.
No, I don't know. I feel like it's not going to really...
What's the letter after what?
Blue and bluey.
Okay, it's E. Bluey. Yeah, EY.
Oh.
Yep. You got to put an L before the U. Blah. Blah. You got it. So just do a backspace. It's that one down there on the bottom right. All right, kiddos, got to watch your Bluey. Yeah, that's a good show, everybody. All right, new poll question. Let's see. Have you ever played Killer 7? Yes or no? I'm a little bit surprised. There was a big response in the chat that people are like, I love Killer 7. I want to see how many people have actually played it. And now I'm really feeling like I should. I'm going to put it on the Steam Deck. I think I might just play it.
Treat yourself.
I might just treat myself and play it.
Just play it.
All right. Let's see. Anything else? What's going on at Giant Bomb? There will be a Blight Club today. Tune in for that. Tomorrow, back with Game S Mornings, and then Voicemail Dump Truck. I think during the day tomorrow, I might try to play Fallout London. That's kind of up in the air because things are kind of coming. The game might not run. I haven't tried to get it running yet, so we'll see.
Oh, I've seen Greg Miller play it.
Yes.
And having a terrible time. But
yes. And then on Friday, we will have probably some stuff. Game Best Mornings should happen Friday, but there's a chance. I got friends in town, and those friends are Dan Reichert and Mike Minotti. We got SummerSlam happening.
Oh God.
So we'll see how things are going. But other than that, I don't know. It's up to Jan. I think he's going to do a UPF and a BCR. Maybe. I don't know. You guys will have to tune in. We have
so many acronyms for things.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, get hip with us, everybody. Learn what we're saying when we're talking. All right, Lucy, thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you all for watching. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
This is what the kids do, right?
That's right. Yeah, why did they start doing that?
That's so much easier.
Yeah, they just take everything from us.